Welcome to Tammy Nation. Let's go.
From 9 to 5, been biting my tongue for all this time. Won't let anyone cut me short. I was thinking this was the way to go, and you put up your puppet show. I say cheers to life. No, I'll be no good man's wife. Just leave me alone. I'm running the show. I'm telling you, it's my time to rise up. Live the life I'm proud of. No, you better go home.
Well, good evening, everybody. Hey, Sharon, good to see you again. I wasn't going to go on anymore this weekend. However, I just saw some information and read some things that I thought it would be important to share with you guys before this weekend was over. One, so you could do some research and check into it yourselves, but also so you can have some information on a film that's coming out in 2 days that I have forgotten to mention to you guys that you may want to check out by Dinesh D'Souza, and it is called Police State, but I will get into that towards the end of the show. But basically, I want to start off with some information that I found out through Roar Room with Steve Bannon and through Jack Posebiec. Basically, Jack Posebiec was a naval intelligence officer. So Bannon had on a show today with Posebiec and was talking about everything that's going on as far as Israel, Hamas, Hezbollah, and everything going on in the battles that we're facing and the threats that basically are rising. Everything is igniting. More people are getting involved. There was some action on the Lebanese-Israeli border as well. So it's not like things are calming down, and it's not like our mighty leader in the forefront of the US of A is calming our nerves at all. So I thought it was important just to go out and share this information with you guys. And so you could just have some information since we're not getting it from our president of the United States at this time. But what they were talking about basically is saying how everything is linked, that the U.S. assets that we have in the different regions have been attacked and under siege, whether it's from missiles or the protests that we're facing on our own land or across broad and wide. They're saying this is all leaked, and they're basically putting the pieces of the puzzle together. And Steve Bannon said something that was very troubling to me. He said the big show could kick off tonight or tomorrow. So that's 24 hours. I don't think he's going to come out and say something like that if it isn't worth paying attention to. So that's why I decided to come on tonight. I'm going to read through the notes that I made, and so I can educate you guys as well. Like I said, I'm not putting a timeline or a stamp on anything. None of us really know. But when you have people that are on the inside that have been in the military or have military connections, I think it's really important to pay attention to them and what they have to say, as well as the media that you may follow or the YouTube people that you may follow and stuff. So I'm just going to go ahead and share it with you guys. You know, they're saying that basically the Muslim Brotherhood has set up Israel in the U.S., that basically what the Biden administration is trying to do is to prevent everything of the true narrative from coming forward and spilling out into the public, that they're trying to suppress it, act like we have control, act like really there's not a whole lot to worry about. As long as we send money to to Ukraine and to Israel, everything's going to be okay, and they're going to like us and they're going to appreciate our support, and we have nothing to worry about. However, the next move in this game, so-called world game or a puzzle, however you want to label it, Russia has ordered the Russian Air Force to load up on hypersonics and put them on the readiness. So what does that mean? That means their hypersonics are ready to go, armed and ready to go. And basically, there's also been long-range missiles shot at Israel. And with Russia being involved in getting on the ready, that was concerning to me too. Apparently, U.S. bases have been hit with drone attacks and other things in Iraq and Syria. The Iranian-backed Malatites in the Middle East are mobilizing. So the militias, the Malatites, all that in Iranian people and their military, they are mobilizing. So what does mobilizing mean? That means you're active. That means you're going. That means you're organizing and moving forward. Also, if you didn't know, President Xi and Putin are meeting in Beijing, and they're actually looking out and watching everything that's going on. The BRICS nations are rising, and many feel this is their time to make a move because they want to move the U.S. presence out of the world affairs. And we said that, hey, Garrett, good to see you. We have said that we feel and appear very weak around the world. There's nobody that is concerned or worried about the US of A anymore with the leadership and the administration that we have. So basically, that is what Bannon and Jack Posobiec and the people that they know are saying, that all around the world, that these people feel it is their time to move and get us out of world affairs. Basically, they're saying that every military person on a ship, on the ground, in the air, needs to realize they are now in harm's way, that these drones that they have can do a lot of damage, that the drones that they have, that they're utilizing, can penetrate bases, they can penetrate defenses, and that we have two battleships, which I talked about earlier in the week, that we had one battleship out there with jet planes and fighters on the ships, but we were sending another one out. So we now have two battleships out there in the Eastern Mediterranean. The battleship and has what was it? They said that there's 12 to 20,000 sailors, Marines, and airmen out on these two battleships, and that the drones are long enough, bad enough, strong enough to be able to reach these ships, and that when Putin says he's put hypersonics on high alert, that's something to pay attention to, that drones are bad enough, but hypersonics are a whole new game, that hypersonics can reach 1,000 kilometers with speeds up to Mach 9. So even if you don't really understand how fast that is or how far that is, if somebody's putting that out there, that it's very far and that our beloved military men and women are in danger, I'm going to listen and pay attention to that. So he says that Posobiec and Bannon having this conversation, Bannon was saying, are not our people in the Eastern Mediterranean basically laying out there, setting up like a shooting gallery? And he asked the question, are we going to be able to take these hypersonics out, that we have 5,000 sailors or so on each ship, the two ships and the carriers, and they are well in range of these supersonics. So yeah, aircraft carriers instead of battleships. Yeah, both the aircraft carriers. That's what they're saying. They name it both, D-Dog. And they're saying that the main thing is that when we have 12 to 20,000 sailors, Marines, and airmen out there, that's the concern, because they are in range of these super or hypersonics that Putin said is armed and ready. So my whole thing is paying attention to what they were talking about today in the show. Was it's not a de-escalation. It's not anything that they said made me feel safe for our men and women that are out there, that are engaged already on the waiting. What it made me realize was all these different players are basically getting armed and ready to go. And what is going to be the final trigger they pull? If Bannon's saying the big show can start within 24 hours, to me, that's very troubling. He said tonight or tomorrow. And even though I'm not well spoken in military and the maneuvers in the Middle East at all, the way they put this forth, it was simple enough for me, the basic person, to understand when I don't know anything about that. It gets very confusing and always has with the Middle East. And then sometimes people don't pay attention. They say, the Middle East has always had problems. And it's hard to understand the breakups of these different groups. However, what's not hard to understand is the breakup of all these groups really have one enemy, and that's the United States of America. So basically, Posobiec was saying this is not going to end with Gaza. It's not going to end with the ground operations or Hamas. Jack Posobiec came back and said this is what Hamas has wanted from the start, basically to incite a holy war in which the Muslim world rises up against Israel, and they blame everything Israel does on the United States of America. So you don't even have to understand totally the breakups of these different groups that are in the Middle East. All you need to know is that U.S. is the enemy, and that any kind of move Israel does, they blame on the U.S. because the U.S. supports it. So basically, they were saying in the rhetoric of these people in the Middle East that Israel is the little Satan and the United States is the Satan across the sea. So anything Israel does, they will take as an act of war. And by who do they blame this act of war on? Is us, the United States. Therefore, it gets us involved, even if we don't want to be involved. Let me see. D-Dog says an aircraft carrier is the head of a carrier group. There are hundreds of ships in a carrier group. A carrier group only has one aircraft carrier. There are two carrier groups there. Awesome. Thanks, D-Dog, for breaking that down a little more so we could understand it, or I could understand it, because they were speaking very fast and very generally. However, the bottom line is what I got was I needed to come on because if you didn't catch that show, or, you know, the media is not reporting this, I think this is pretty substantial. And whether you like Pacific or not, what he had to say was very telling to me. I don't believe that they would go and say this big show is going to start within 24 hours if they didn't know something or feel something. And like I said, they have people involved in the military. One was in the military, they're in the military, they have connections, and they just said, be ready, and you don't know. And with Russia and President Xi talking and being in Beijing, and then Putin arming and readying hypersonics, I mean, that's incredible. I mean, who thought we would be here right at this time, right? Lily J, good to see you as well. And right, Garrett, Tammy, why the right and left politicians worry about the war in Israel with Hamas and Palestinians and trying to figure out who's going to be House Speaker. We're nearing another government. Correct. I believe that too. You know, nothing, we're shut down here in America. So what I'm saying is, if somebody who doesn't really understand the politics of it all, somebody who hasn't been in the military, but can watch a show like that and be triggered enough to have concern, yet our own government is shut down and doesn't feel an urgency for our president or our representatives to be functioning and working and taking another long weekend off, baffles me. But it is pretty telling as well. And you don't have to be a conspiracy theorist or anything of the like. You don't have to be a fearmonger, none of that. Just pay attention. Like I said, it's a bunch of pieces of a puzzle that we're trying to put together and make them fit. And it's true, our own government shut down and our own representatives trying to put this House Speaker seat filled and put it together are talking about Israel and Ukraine. So my question is, why do we keep funding this? We know how corrupt Ukraine is. Why in the heck are we still funneling tons of money and support there when it's corrupt? We don't hold them accountable for the amounts of money we send. We don't have to get anything in return. We just keep shoveling it out like it's a bottomless pit of funds that we have. And what is it doing? In my opinion, it's making us weaker and weaker by the moment. And when things like this keep escalating, or more and more people are getting involved or armed and ready, so to speak, that gives me great concern and great pause. I don't like it, and it's terrible. But Jack Posebic was also saying that he's going to be covering the history of the U.S. involvement all weekend long, that who exactly funded these groups that begin with the T, and to begin the U.S. community, and who is up there next. Basically, our community is up in their necks, who it was from the beginning, like Brennan Clapper, all the way back, and how this incites what? Because he said he's going to cover all weekend. So that's my point. If you want to follow Posebic and stay up on this, Jack Posebic, he's on Twitter, Getter, also on Truth Social. He's going to have programs and stuff, and he's going to talk about Brennan Clapper and go all the way back and explain to us who funded these people, these groups that began with the T, and how we are up in our necks in it because of it. And that, what does this incite? This is what he's saying. What we've done and what our involvement has been with some of these leaders has caused what? It's going to cause blowback. And that's his big thing. He said, we can only do what we're doing for so long before then what happens? We're at a weak spot now with our administration and our leader, right? So this is the perfect time for everybody to group up and do exactly what they wanted. And which I said is, have this uprising, because we are at the weakest we've ever been in a very, very long time. So that's the point of all this. Whether you believe it or not, you don't have to take it from me. You can follow Pacific all weekend long and go ahead and look at the history and get more educated on it and stuff. That's what I intend doing, because I'm not going to claim that I know anything about this other than I know the only thing I do know is what they're saying ties into what we're seeing and the maneuvers that we're seeing. When, like I said a little earlier, if Biden is saying if we just supplement money and we support them, first of all, he's supporting Israel and Ukraine. Isn't that an oxymoron? Basically, you're taking off some of these superpowers, these bigger powers for Ukraine. And it's always the innocent people that they try to tug our heartstrings on and show us these visuals and propaganda of, oh, look at these innocent people that are hurt and wounded. Yes, war is ugly, war is dirty, war is nasty. And we just don't seem to learn. Why don't we learn? Why don't we learn how to communicate and talk and wheel and deal? Why? Because there's a lot of corruption involved. There's a lot of money to be made. And you hear that term warmongers. Some of these people love war because there's a lot of money to be made at it, at the sacrifice of the individuals. And God bless the military, that those people and their families. It just rips my heart out, because I don't know anybody that wants to send their loved ones over to Ukraine or anywhere to fight in some of these endless wars. Mr. T got us out of those. Mr. T, it was calm and quiet. And I would much rather have a leader that people think's crazy and they don't trust, or sends mean tweets, or you don't agree with, or you don't like, that keeps a calm in the world, or at least in our government and our homeland. And we can't always stick our nose in all these endless wars all the time. We always suffer. And you look what's happening in our country now. And I think we're paying the price for that. These people that just seem to love war and love power. But over all this time, nobody's, it seems like, learned a lesson, because we're still going back at it. We're still going back at it. And it's just so sad to me. Like D-Dog said before, only idiots throw out money in wars. Yeah, I mean, we just keep sending it out there. Why we suffer here at home. We've got plenty of things to take care of here at home. But like I said, when you pull back your lens and you look at even the House Speaker deal, and you look at some of the articles out there and some of the things being said, our own representatives don't even put our safety first. They're saying that we won't be safe unless we support Israel, unless we support Ukraine. And that doesn't seem to be going so well, because Russia's on alert now too. So what is that telling you? It's troubling to me. The other thing that I wanted to cover tonight as well, there's two more things, is if you haven't heard, Dinesh D'Souza has a new film that's coming out called Police State. It's coming out in 2 days. It's October 23rd to the 27th. You can watch the trailer and get tickets. You can go to policestatefilm.net, policestatefilm.net. You can watch the trailer, get information on it, buy tickets. And basically what it is, it's going to cover if we are on our way to becoming a police state here in America, and are we already? The film is in collaboration with Dan Bongino, and it also lays out, which is the good news, not just the trouble that we're in that seems very obvious, but it also lays out a plan how we don't have to stay in a police state. We don't have to ever become a police state again, and how we keep our liberties and freedoms. So it does have a solution as well as the problem. And you have to love a film that will give you not just the problem, but the solution and the ideas of what we can do to take part in it, to be active in our own safety, in our own liberties, in our own freedoms, because it does get overwhelming and it does get frightening to the individual as we try to learn and venture. And many of us don't know exactly how to approach our freedoms and liberties and what we have. We don't know them. And sometimes we think the task is too mighty to investigate that, or we don't feel we're strong enough to challenge it. And we are. It takes us, we are the majority. We are not the minority. And we have to remember that. And it's never too late to learn and start. The film is going to also expose, which was very promising to me, how it exists, how this police stating exists, and how it works. So we're going to understand why it exists, how it works. And basically, it involves more than Trump or some of his people. It involves the ordinary citizen, you and me, and how we get caught up in it and how it affects our life, the things that we go through or the things that are done to us. And it explains that too. So once again, you can catch it on policestatefilm.net. Catch the trailer, catch some tickets. It is the premiere week, October 23rd to the 27th. Also, they are offering a virtual premiere that will happen on Friday, October 27th, 5 p.m. Pacific time. So you'll be able to watch a premiere online, a virtual premiere October 27th at 5 p.m. Pacific time if you can't make it to the theater. And I think that it'll be worth the while. I'm going to go to my phone and I want to read the comments that some of these are on. Is it up here? That they make regarding the film. Let me see. I might have to Google it again because I think I shut it down. Police state. But Dan Bongino and Dinesh D'Souza and another person was talking about it. I think I lost it. But anyhow, they do give synopsises. If you go to the Police State movie website, Police State, like I said, it was policestatefilm.net. Let me see if I can find it real quick. .net, because I want to read what they had to say. So just give me a second to find it because I shut it down. Let me see. Here we go. I got it now. So this is what Dinesh D'Souza says about it. Dinesh says, Police State is a movie that I never wanted to make because I never wanted America to get to a point where a movie like this needed to be made. I feel like the animal that alerts the herd to approaching danger so we can take precautionary steps before it's too late. Dan Bongino's comment on this film is, the police state isn't coming, it's already here. The signs are everywhere. And once you recognize them, your senses will be heightened to the danger we are all in. Once again, not fear-mongering, just paying attention to what is going on and the injustices that are going on around here. And just trying to find out. So we can, I always say, we have to stay informed so we can make educated decisions, smart decisions for ourselves, our loved ones, our family, etc. So we can try to keep some sense of sanity in this crazy world, because it is a crazy world. Nick Searcy is another one that's made a comment on this, and he said the relentless persecution of political opponents by the party in power is a hallmark of totalitarian countries. In a police state, the only real crime is daring to question the state. America is now a police state. So that's it. Truthfully, we know that we are not allowed to speak up, speak out, or they want to muzzle us. You know, they've been censoring us on social media for a very long time, where we feel like we have to dance around certain words, certain topics, and stuff like that. And it isn't fair. It isn't right. This isn't the country that I grew up in. I know that things have changed dramatically, and not necessarily for the better. The only thing that I see is better is that there's a lot of people that are standing up, trying to get wise, trying to fight the good fight, and unifying that way. We've gotten away from that. We got content. We got lazy, myself included. We thought that, you know, life was a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get, but you didn't think you were going to get anything that bad. And here we see ourselves in the conditions that we're in now. So now it's the time that would behoove us to pay attention. We keep saying that, we can keep hearing that. And like I said, it's about watching different different things. Don't just stay to one side. No matter what your beliefs are, if you pay attention to the other side, you will see what the enemy is doing. And that is my point. We get closed-minded when we don't realize our enemy and who the enemy is, what they're doing, what their moves are, and what they're saying. We can't live just on hope. We have to pray, we have to be educated, and we have to take action. It takes everybody to do what they can do. Just like with this House Speaker stuff, you know, supposedly it was making great gains by having Jim Jordan in, because supposedly the phone lines to our representatives were being, you know, they were so busy that people had to start emailing saying to the representatives, you better vote for Jim Jordan. That's where we want the vote to go. Now, has it gone that way? No, basically Jim Jordan's out now. But the point is they're hearing us, that we have a voice and that we're paying attention. And that is what they don't like. The people that are in power and control don't like that we are voicing our opinion. We are standing up and staying strong. Now, this is a long haul. This is not a short-term battle. This is not a temporary thing. This is a long haul. So we have to stay the course. If we vocalize our opinions and we vocalize our wants and needs and we don't stay quiet, that causes the change, as uncomfortable as it may be. And for me, for one, I don't buy the threat about, oh, we have to not let the House shut down. You know, they said our military won't get paid, blah, 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 blah. If you're really that worried about it, instead of sending and worrying about doing these bills and sending this other $60 billion to Ukraine, why don't you send it to our military members then until the House gets in order? You can adjust the monies and the funds where they go. They're the U.S. taxpayers' money. It should stay here within our military. If you're worried about that, they should get paid first, not the other people in Ukraine or Israel. And if that sounds selfish, that's too bad. We need to take care of ourselves, because who's going to take care of us, you guys? Who is going to come in and help us? Has anybody really come in and helped the US of A? We've always been like the stronghold, and we've always been told that if we fall, the whole world falls. So maybe there's been some that have helped out here and there. But if you remember, Donald J. Trump is the one who made some people pay back their debts, because all these other countries, all the funds and money that we have given them over the years, a lot of times they've never paid us back. We just keep taking it over and over and over again. Well, now really, we are at a point that I feel that we need help. I don't see anybody lending a hand to help us as far as the illegals and stuff and say, hey, we'll help you put up a wall. We'll help you do this. No, they're not helping, because we're self-destructing. Even Putin came out and said, you know, either we are simply stupid because what we're allowing here, or the government that is leading us is corrupt. And for Putin to say those two things is pretty telling as well. So they're standing back and watching for the fall, because who wouldn't want to be the world or the world leader, right? Who wouldn't want to be the superpower? Haven't they all been waiting for the United States of America to fall, right? Haven't they? So these are very troubling times, and you know, you just can't bury your head in the sand anymore. So going back to this film, Dinesh D'Souza said basically the real end goal in this film is to kind of do what I just said: stiffen the spines of patriots, stiffen the spines of Christians, stiffen the spines of Republicans, and stiffen the spine of conservatives. That we have an enemy some don't believe, and we have an enemy some don't want to see. And isn't that the truth? And I had made a comment the other day on a show that I said, you know what, you guys, I wonder why we have so many rhinos. Do you mean to tell me that so many people are bought and sold and paid for once they get in, because they have the need for power and control and money? And it can't be that many people flip once they're on the inside. And I realized something, and I gave pause to it to think, how about some of these people that are running as Republicans are actually Democrats or liberals or whatever it may be? They're certainly not Republicans and represent conservative ideals when they actually are put in office or run for office, that they are being backed by our George guy that we know so well. And there has been proof of that in investigations here and other cities, that they've found that some of these people that were running in the local cities and stuff like that were actually disguised as Republicans. So what happens is, once these people get in office, that's why we get stalemates, and that's why we run into brick walls like we do. I don't necessarily believe anymore that the conservatives just don't know how to garner together and unite. I believe that there are not enough conservatives or true Republicans out there to unite, because there's these other rhinos or people that are falsely displaying being Republican. I may be wrong, but that's just a thought I gave, because it occurred to me when that story came out. I think it was last summer, or was it this? I think it was last summer when the story came out about George S. guy that was buying and paying for people, putting into position to get elected into power. And then guess what? They become little puppets. They become his little puppets. So even though things are tough and things are ugly and things are breaking down, I really believe that it is for the betterment of us. Hey, Cindy, my son's good to see you, and Karen Thompson too. I believe that we are living in wonderful, magical times. Even though it's horrible, it's at times, I believe we're watching the final battle cries of the elites and the powers that be, because they're starting to lose. They're losing because they see that we, the average American citizen, who may not have a legal background, who may not have a political background, but average parents, moms and dads like you and me, middle-aged and older, just taken to the task and voicing our opinions and getting involved and wanting to make a change. We are rallying. We are giving the battle cry to save America, to bring her back to what she was, what we all grew up in, and we're trying to save it for our children. Nobody wants to live the way things are. It is the most fragile it has ever been. Hey, Q City Lady, good to see you. And we all know this, but the thing is, there is also an empowerment when we realize that, guess what, when we stand strong together and we voice our opinions and we make those phone calls to people, or we hold them accountable, there is a power and a greatness in that, and a sense of, I did the best that I could do for my country and for my children and grandchildren, because I just didn't sit back and not pay attention. I didn't sit back thinking I wasn't qualified, or I'm too old, or I don't understand, so I'm going to shut up and just let other people do it. What I love about this is everybody seems to be getting involved. It doesn't matter how much experience they have or how much they don't have. It's average mom and dads getting out there, had enough, standing in front of the school boards, standing in front of in the streets, and giving the rally cries to say, hey, wake up, everybody. This, I think we're in the fight of our lives. We're in the fight for this country. It is a great time to be alive. It really is. Just paying attention and waking up to the different things that we never thought we'd have to see again. In the old days when we had wars and stuff, we didn't like it, but maybe we had a little bit of a belief and trust that the government was somewhat legit, and we liked the president, and we didn't like war, but we trusted what they were doing and saying. And I believe that all of that has been exposed the last few years of how bad it really is. When we look at what the politicians are saying and doing, and we realize how anti-America it is. And then I also saw something with what happened in the Capitol building the other day with the protesters that were pro-Hamas, with Rashid Tlaib out there crying and saying things. You know what? I found out, I read today, that it was because of her that they were let in, that she encouraged them. I knew she encouraged these people, but it was organized and encouraged by her. And Marjorie Taylor Greene and some others want to hold her accountable, because I was saying, and people were not understanding, how did all these people get into the Capitol building? If you have 10 or 20, you would think that you would know what's coming. They're carrying their flags. And we also were taking care of business, and it was interrupted. And not only that, a day before that happened in that building and those protests broke out inside of there, the sergeant of arms put out a letter because they got word that there might be some kind of thing going on. And they said to each House member in there, listen, this may happen, but don't worry. We're loaded and ready. We have plenty of equipment. We have plenty of staff. We're going to keep you well protected and well guarded, and there's nothing to worry about. But we saw the complete opposite. So these people had a heads up that this may happen. And instead, these people got inside of the rotunda. They were waving flags. They were pro-Hamas under the guise of saying that we just want peace and calm, because Marjorie Taylor Greene and her staff got photos of these people and their cell phones as they were texting. And it was the an Islamic coalition of people that were in there. So they were under the guise of one thing, but really the other. But my point is, they shouldn't have been let in the building in the first place, especially with everything going on. And look what happened when our own citizens entered that building and what happened. Look at the ones that are still in jail behind bars. And these people, they were trying to arrest them, but then they have all these lame excuses saying, we don't have enough buses to ship them out. We don't have enough handcuffs to put them in handcuffs and arrest them. It is like a clown world. It's like a dang circus. And it's just disgusting. It's embarrassing. And it shouldn't be happening in this great country. These men and women that have fought for our freedoms of the past, to do homage to them and to respect them and let them feel like they didn't fight for nothing. We need to stand up and we need to pay attention. We need to not let this country get any worse off than it is. And like I said, there's more and more that is out in the media. Like I said, with the Biden administration, he's just whopping around acting like everything's fine. We're just shipping out money and we're okay, to different individual people that are taking it upon themselves, that have been threatened with their lives, threatened with different things against their families, sticking their necks out. So you and I can learn what is really going on, pay attention, and do our part. It is very, very, very dangerous out there for a lot of these people, you know. And she does, Cindy D, need to be held accountable. Like I said, Marjorie Taylor Greene is putting in some kind of paperwork, whatever you call it, to hold her accountable. Let's see if she is held accountable. But, you know, what she did was way worse than what Mr. T did. We saw the speech. We know the speech of J6 and what Mr. T had said, and they spun that around and made it into something it wasn't. And we have all these people that are suffering in jail and have been for a very long time. It is so wrong. And then she gets up there at the steps of our Capitol, and she is ranting and raving and crying and saying and talking against Biden. And you know, it's just so wrong. And it doesn't take a genius. It doesn't take a lawyer. It doesn't take a political expert. It just takes an average American citizen, you and I, to look and know and see what's really going on. And it is more than just Trump or Biden. It is more than just left or right. It is about all of us unifying as American citizens and helping each other out as we stumble through this, trying to find out what the truth really is. Because stuff is flinging every which way and stuff is changing all the time. Look what happened with Jim Jordan the other morning. Okay, so I talked about this. It came out late at night that Jim Jordan was going to do a press conference, right, the next morning, and everybody was excited. And even Marjorie Taylor Greene put out there, this is going to be big, so big. Okay, about this press conference. And then he starts telling some story and he starts saying the things that we already know. And to me, there was nothing substantial about it at all. And it's like, we already know this. What was even the point of this? We got all, at least I did. I started believing it and got excited. I thought there was going to be some great announcement, you know, some kind of closure, some kind of whatever. And it was, to me, a nothing burger. Now, some people are going to say, well, there's a method to that, or there's a code to that, or that really means something else, you know. But the thing is, the reality is, we've got Marjorie Taylor Greene and Jim Jordan coming out and doing what they did. And it's like, what the heck is going on? You know, they know the fragile state emotionally and that we are. They know that we are tired of the BS. But to me, that was wrong for her to come out and say, hey, it's a big deal, it's going to be huge. And for him to come out and do that. And then he drops out because they went behind the scenes again, you guys, after that presser, and they did a secret vote, and he got like only 85 for him and like 112 or something against him. So they're saying one thing on the House floor, voting one way, or saying one thing in front of the media to you and I, and then doing another thing behind the scenes. That's just disgusting to me. So They're making so much money. Well, Kieran, what I was going to say was it is the love of money and other free stuff. But what I was going to tell you guys too is this whole thing came out about money washing. And I'm saying washing, but I know it's the L word. There's a whole list of people and this whole investigation that's going on that the 100 billion that we've already gave to Ukraine, a lot of it has, well, a part of it has recycled back to certain people after it's been washed. That, of course, Ukraine kept some of it, but some of our very people, our representatives, have been supposedly receiving some of that money. And I was saying that Greg Pence, who is the nephew of Mike Pence, received allegedly, let me say allegedly, allegedly $17 million. And at the top of that money train, gravy train, was Joey. Mr. Joey received like 82 or 92 million of it. So what they're saying, and what you guys are saying in chat as well, is it's like they send it out, they wash it up, and then it gets sent back to some of these people. That is why a lot of them have so much money. And I know, yes, like the Nancy Pelosi's and all these Chuck Schumers of the world, yes, can they invest money? Yep. Can they get rich from that? Yep. Can they marry into money and get rich? Yep. But the thing is, it's like 174 or 175,000, I believe, is the average salary of a representative. So how you make millions upon millions and some into the billions is beyond me. Because wouldn't you and I like a piece of that money pie? I mean, come on now. Tell us what you're investing in and how much you're investing and how you're doing it. Make everybody else rich. Why does it have to be a few billionaires up here and then people that can't even afford to feed their families down here? If they really cared about us as their people that they represent, wouldn't the elite class and the poor find a happy medium? Because we've heard long ago they wanted to eliminate the middle class, and they've done, I think, a good job. I don't even think the upper middle class exists anymore. I think it's like elite rich and then kind of poor, or kind of people that are live above the poverty level, still struggling, working 2 and 3 jobs to feed their families. So there's a lot to be said about the big gap now between the multi-billionaires or millionaires to the people that are trying just to work to survive. None of it makes sense, and it's just gotten worse and worse. The last thing I wanted to talk about to you guys was the CPAC next year. And that's where you can meet and greet a lot of these people that speak and stuff. There are different events that they have to educate us. And you see a lot of these people like the Bannons of the world, like the Bonginos, like Donald Trump Jr., like Jack Posobiec, like Charlie Kirk, all of them. You can see them in person. And at these events, they give these different speeches. But the really thing that is cool about it is you get to meet people from across the country that are like-minded us, like us. Like, what do we do to get our country back? How can we network and support each other? You meet different groups and you get different, I call it tchotchke stuff, whether it's flyers, whether it's keychains, whether it's phone numbers or emails at these events. If you can make them to them, I think that it's really cool. The thing is, I know that it can be costly, but the good thing about CPAC is what Steve Bannon was saying. The schedule's not up for next year yet, but what they're offering in CPAC next year is 4 days for only $100, you guys. So you can go. It's only $25 a day. It's 4 days. You can spend $100. Yes, it's going to cost for a hotel and your food, but $100 is not bad. I know that concert tickets or different event tickets all seem to be $75 to $100 and some dollars. So if you're interested, just look up CPAC, and when they put the schedule out, if there's something, maybe there'll be something close to you that you don't have to get a hotel or fly or drive to. It won't be that far, where you can just drive in and out each day. But I thought that was pretty cool because they want everybody to be educated, everybody to network and meet together, to have groups that form, and like I said, network across the country with different like-minded people. You'll meet different groups, no matter what it is, and grassroots people that have these different groups that do things, like the affidavit mamas that we've learned about, right? Or you got Frank Lopez Jr., the border patriot. You can find out different people that work the border and what they're doing. And it's just really great because you can meet in person these people. And like-minded people like you and myself. And I'm telling you, going to these events, I've gone to what, 3 or 4 of them now, and it is so wonderful because the patriotism that is at these events, or even different parades or at rallies, is incredible. That you'll see with your own eyes that we're the majority, and you see that there's a great many people, moms and dads and grandpas and grandmas and aunts and uncles, that are out there just wanting to bond and, say, hey, let's hang out, let's talk. They dress the part. They're in red, white, and blue, and they have a lot of fun having different red, white, and blue outfits on, and they got it decorated with accessories, red, white, and blue jewelry, or whatever it may be. And it just gives you some inspiration, and it just makes you feel not so isolated, and it just really helps lift your spirits, let's just say. Lily J, yeah, the Reawakening America tour is a great place to go as well, because Lily J went to that. I haven't gone to one of those yet, Lily J, but yeah, we need to all get together and go to these events. I agree, Lily J. And hopefully in 2024, I'm going to be able to do that more. I've been working really hard, 3 jobs now, you guys, 6 days a week I work to be able just to try to accumulate some funds so I can go ahead and partake in the things I want to partake in. I've stopped buying things, I've stopped doing things. Basically, I work, I pay attention to what's going on, and I come on here, and I told you guys when it came fall that that's what I would do. I'm just going to dedicate myself to that, because that's where God's leading me and what he's leading me to do. It was a great summer to have time off and all that, but you know what? It's time to we're getting to the nitty gritty. 2024 isn't that far away. Plus, they also have thrown lawsuits at Mike Lindell now, and they went after Bannon, they're going after Trump, they're going after Lindell. The Sidney Powell, Sidney Powell pled guilty the other day for the Fulton County, Georgia here trial. That is the E-word trial, because they said that she was trying to make changes to that, and she was in getting involved in that. And people went crazy saying, oh my gosh, she pled guilty. Why would she plead guilty? And I have to say that with me, hey, Zoe Bonnie, that with me, I kind of felt that way too at first. But as I investigated it more and I listened to Trump's head lawyer, because like I said, I don't know much about legalities and stuff, or courtrooms and all that kind of stuff, but you can get educated. You don't have to know. If you just pay attention, you learn. But they were saying, and Trump's head lawyer said he's not worried about it, that it can really actually work for my defense. Sidney Powell, a lot of people said, you know what, people do that. They do plea deals, because why risk jail time? Why risk it when they don't feel you're going to get a fair trial? You're not going to get a fair jury, because we know that this lady that is doing all this, I'm not going to name her name, really is after Trump and those people. And so she, they're just, and you may think, oh no, it's not corrupt. Well, it is. So with her doing the plea deal, she gets, I think it was a $6,000 fine, and there's so many months of probation she has, but she stays out of jail too. And also she will testify, which means she's going to be called to testify against Rudy Giuliani, against Trump, against Mark Meadows. But the thing is, she's going to be telling the truth. So if she's going to be telling the truth, that may work as a benefit, right? So that's why she did the plea deal. And you know what? I don't blame her. As you gain more understanding, it's amazing. And Karen Thompson, yes, work for the election. I did that. I was a poll watcher, and I've been going to different meetings here in my area as well to get educated. Let me tell you, when you go to your local meetings and stuff, you guys, excuse me one second. It's amazing and incredible, because I didn't know much about it. The people that I joined and at the meetings have been doing this for many, many years. They're all different levels of involvement, from being even members elected in their cities from before to elected in their cities now. And you get to see how the process works. And even if you're one of those that say, Tammy, I don't want to make calls. Tammy, I don't want to go door to door. But if you just attend the meeting and watch, and you see the actual numbers, and that's what was the coolest thing to me about it all, was you get to see the actual breakdown, because of course they have a computer expert in the meetings that I go to, and he gives the breakdown of the different areas where I'm at, of the different voter rolls and the certified ones, and the different discrepancies that happened around the different counties, our area and other counties as well. And you get educated and you start paying attention and realizing, wow, if all this kind of craziness can go off in my little area, imagine what happened in every little area. Even if it didn't happen in every city or every state, you start adding up the numbers and you're looking at things, how they don't make sense. And you say, well, you know what? There's always been errors. Yes, there always has been. But when there's the massive amount of discrepancies like that I saw in my area, it was incredible, and it's an eye opener. So yes, you don't even have to go door to door or make calls if you don't want to. But if you just attend the meetings, you will learn so much, and it'll wake you up a lot. And God bless these people that I have in my area. Some of them, you guys, are 70s and 80 years old and just fighting the good fight, because why? They don't want to lose this country either. And even though some of them said, I'm not going to be here a whole lot longer, but my kids and my grandkids sure are, and the generations to come. And that's why they're in this fight, because they are not going to go down without a fight. And that's what it's all about. And everything. Do I not have sound anymore? Do I not have sound? I think I should be okay. Everything's still showing up. So, but I'm going to end it here anyways. But you guys, thank you so much for joining me on this Saturday evening. It has been incredible, and I love you guys. And like I said, take everything I said with a grain of salt, because you can do your own investigating. And please pay attention to Jack Posebik to see what happened, or what's going to happen as he breaks down everything that is going on with the Middle East and stuff, because he does have the inside information. Jack Posebik is on Twitter. He's on Getter, and he's on Truth Social. So like I said, just go outside your comfort zone. Start paying attention to people maybe you wouldn't pay attention to, or if you've heard rumors that they're not great and stuff, just pay attention anyhow. Don't limit your vision. At this time, we have to pull back and get a complete big good vision. So Q City Lady, good to see you. Chris Gilbert, Lala, good to see you. Oh, it was your phone. That's okay. That's okay. Sometimes it's me because my connection here, sometimes I do unplug my own earphones. So that's why I checked. But anyways, love each and every one of you. Thank you so much for spending your time with me here this evening. And God bless each and every one of us. You guys stay strong, stay tough, and we've got this. We're going to be all right. We just have to stand strong and keep fighting the good fight. So love you all. Peace out. Goodbye. And I'll catch you on the next one.